Hello students! In the last video, we learnt about the structure of human eye. In this video, we will see another important concept, that is accommodation power of the eye. It is nothing but the ability of the eye to form a clear image of an object at different distances by changing the size of the lens. But before looking at the accommodation power, let me tell you one important thing. Just look at all the mediums through which light passes. At one glance, we see that the refractive indices of air and cornea are largely different, whereas others are not that significantly different. Thus, the major part of the bending, that is refraction, happens at the air-cornea interface. Well, refraction does happen at other interfaces as well, but not as much as at this interface. The lens also refracts light, but its major function is to make sure that all the light coming from the points on the object falls on the retina and not anywhere else. This is really important for us to see a sharp and clear image of the object. Wait, did I just say clear and sharp image? Yes, I did. Let me explain this to you. Look at this image on your screen. Can you see it clearly? Yes, indeed. Now keep one pencil in front of it. Now try to focus on both the pencil and image in the back together. Were you able to get a clear image of both objects at the same time? No, isn't it? Definitely. What happens is that when we focus on a pencil, the image behind blurs out, and if we focus on the image, the pencil blurs out. Isn't it? Have you thought about why this happens? Let us understand it like this. Say there are two convex lenses. They have the same focal length, and through one we are observing the pencil and through other the tree in the image. For the time being, let us assume they are like points. The object is point size. So we have two lenses of the same focal length and two point size objects now. One little far and the other little near. So where will the images of these objects be formed? Okay, so what will be V here? Yes, it will be the distance between the center of the lens and the screen. So we find that the magnitude of V1 is greater than V2. Or we know that as we move the object closer and closer, the image moves further away from the lens. And that is why in the second case, image distance is more than in the first one. This is because the bending capacity cannot change since the focal length is constant. So what changes is the distance of image. In the eye also, we have something similar. We said that both the lenses have the same focal length, which means their bending capacity is same. As a result, the farther the object is from the lens, the nearer is the image to the lens. Now let me ask you one question. What can we do if we don't want to move the screen and still want a clear image? Or to put it another way, what if I wanted the distance between the lens and image to be the same or equal in both the cases? So in the first case, the image must get closer, right? And in the second case, the image must move away from the lens. Now in the first case, to do that, light has to bend more or lens has to converge a lot more. While in the second case, the light has to bend less or the lens has to converge little less. Now what can you do here to make the light bend more or less? Yes, we can change the thickness of the lens. As the lens becomes thick, we know its bending capacity increases. And as it becomes thin, its bending power decreases. So when we do that, the image comes at a point at the same distance from the lens for both the cases. So what we are changing here is, we are changing the focal length of the lens. The exact same thing happens within the eye. It also has the lens and the screen, the retina. The reflection of an object must be formed on the retina only in our eye. Most importantly, neither the lens nor the retina can move because the shape of eyeball cannot change, right? Yes. So we cannot change the distance between the lens and the image here. It's fixed. But objects can be near or far from the lens of the human eye, isn't it? So if this distance is fixed and object distance is changing, so what do we do to see the clear image? Thus, to form an image at the same distance every time, the lens has to become thick or thick. If the lens has to form a clear image of the object on the retina, the only option is to increase or decrease its thickness or adjust the focal length as per the distance of the object. Thus, this ability of the eye lens to change its focal length as per the object distance is called its accommodation power. The name itself says, isn't it? It changes its focal length to accommodate the object and make it fall exactly on the retina. Our lens is made up of an elastic jelly-like protein whose thickness is controlled by these ciliary muscles. When we look at the nearby objects, the focal length has to be reduced. Thus, ciliary muscles contract and the lens becomes more spherical. Opposite to this, when we look at the distant objects, the focal length has to increase. Thus, ciliary muscles relax and lens becomes thinner. This forms the sharp image of the object on the retina. So, returning to our original question, when we focus on pencil, the image behind blurs out, and if we focus on the image, the pencil appears blurred. And why this happens? To answer this, when the focus was on the pencil which was nearby, the ciliary muscles were relaxed and the lens was thicker. This will form clear and sharp image of pencil on the retina. Now at this focal length, the image of the tree, which is at larger distance in the picture, would form in front of the retina and hence it would blur out. Now reverse to this, when the focus was on the tree which is in the object, far away, the lens was thinner as ciliary muscles were contracted. Thus the focal length was larger. Now at this focal length, the image of the nearby pencil would be formed behind the retina and hence it would blur out this time. So we can say that at any point, we can look at one of the object such that its clear and sharp image is formed. Now what about how close or far we can see the objects clearly? We will answer this question in our next video. Till then, you think upon it.